So the question really comes down to, are you doing the most efficient thing possible with your dollars? That's up to you. But I will tell you, I meet people all the time, and these people have 50 grand in savings, either savings account, brokerage accounts. They're so proud about talking about their savings, their investments, the amount that they save, that they get all lit up, and they should. But then we go over to the other side and we talk about, well, what about your debts? Oh, they don't want to talk about that. Oh, what we find out is they've got $30,000 in credit card debt. They've got $20,000 in car loans. But yet, remember, they were so excited that they saved 50 grand in these investment accounts. But over here, we've got these debts that are costing how much? Well, most credit cards are over 20%. Car loans are in the, 4 to 7, 8, 9% range. So when we blend it all out, you're in the high teens. Is your 401k, your savings, and all your money that you're so proud of making more than what you're giving away every month? Well, I'll tell you the truth. Most people are losing the battle. Their savings are not earning more than what they're giving away every month on their debts, but they can't connect the dots. That all they need to do is take the money from their savings and pay down their debts. But that's what we're gonna get into. I'm gonna bring my friend Joe on today, but we're not gonna just talk about doing what I just said. We're gonna talk about how to really maximize this and how to become your own bank. What's up, Joe?
How you doing, Chris?
Not too bad. So I was telling them a little bit about 401ks and how a lot of people are putting in more than the match, and they're proud of that. And I was also talking about what we see almost every single week when we're on the phone with clients, and we're seeing people, they have all this money saved in various different places. They're so proud of their savings. But then when we uncover all the debts, they typically have just as much in debts that is costing them more. I talked to you about this before on the podcast, but why do people not connect the dots that your savings could just be applied to your debts and you could recapture the money you're giving away and you'd be making the same amount you're paying the credit card companies?
It all is mindset, because this side is the asset based. This is the savings side, and they're saving and they're getting interest of 1%, and they're so happy of that. But they can't rationalize that credit card at 28%. And they're losing that 27.
But the credit card could be used as like just a line of credit. Everybody understands a revolving line of credit.
But they don't know how to do it, and that's where the mindset comes in. When people get a HELOC, they get a HELOC to put a new roof on, to put their windows in. They're not taking that HELOC to use to lend out to make more money. They're not thinking that way. They're only thinking about how that liability, that borrowed money, is going to help them put their roof on. Why don't they use that HELOC to pay off those credit cards?
Yeah, exactly.
To get out of debt. They don't see it because of mindset.
I have to guess that a lot of the people watching this right now have seen our videos, and they know we teach people how to be the bank, how to take back control of their money, and we teach the infinite banking concept. So when I talk to people, which I know you talk to more people than I do these days, and I ask them, I said, how much money are you saving? You know, they'll tell me something like, I'm saving $1,000, I'm saving $2,000. And sometimes they have to actually think about it, like, well, I got this much going to the 401k, and then we got this much. It becomes like a mathematical question in their head, but eventually I arrive at a number. I'm saving $1,000 a month. Great. How do you feel about that? Well, I think I feel pretty good. I'm saving money. Isn't that a good thing? It's a great thing. Okay, then we get to the other part of the conversation, is we talk about their debts. Okay, and we go into it. They're never as excited about that. Well, we try to pay it off every single month. Well, we carry a little bit of a balance, $5,000, $10,000, but we're gonna get that paid off. We got a really good plan. Okay, tell me about your plan. Oh, well, we're putting another $1,000 a month toward these debts, and it's been working, we're paying it down. I'm like, wait a second. So you're saving $1,000 over here, and then you're putting another $1,000 to these? Well, yeah, I'm paying my debts down. Well, how much have you saved up over the time? Oh, we got like 25 grand saved up. Great. And how much did you say you owed in credit cards? It's like 5 grand right now. So wait a second. You saved up 25, but you've got a credit card debt over here that you're burning $1,000 a month trying to pay that thing down. Why not just take 5 from the savings that's earning probably less than 3% and pay down that credit card that's charging you 20+%? Oh, I never thought about that.
Yes.
But before we do that, why don't we take your savings and why don't we put it to a policy and open up a specially designed whole life? We're going to earn guaranteed interest, dividends at a higher rate than what the credit cards are paying. Then we'll take the money from there and we'll pay down the credit cards. And that's usually where the conversation gets a bit strange. You want to talk about that?
Exactly. So because we utilize the whole life as the vehicle, as the way to run our money through because of the dividends and because of the banking portion. There's a base portion and the PUA portion. That base portion is what you're saving on a monthly basis. That PUA portion is the banking portion. That's the portion that you're running through. You have a checking account and they get a direct deposit into the checking account. Then 2 weeks later, they take the money out of that checking account to pay the credit card, right? Aren't you running the money through Bank of America? Aren't you running the money through Chase? Well, why don't you run the money through the credit union of John and the credit union of Lisa? It's your credit union. It's your banking policy. If you're saving $500 a month and you can run $1,000 through to pay that credit card, to pay that car payment, why don't you run it through your credit union instead of the Bank of America and Chase, because they're making money on that money? Why wouldn't you want to run it through your bank so you make the money?
I don't know.
So when I do a phone call with people, I ask them, if I lit a $100 bill on fire at the end of the month, is that going to affect your food, your livelihood, putting gas in your car? No. How about 200? No. 300, 400, depending on the person. Somebody might say, oh, 300 is as much as I can go without with you lighting on fire. Beautiful. We're going to start there then. We're going to leave 300 in the policy as base. And then this is where the calculations come in. How much income do you make per year? What is the allotted amount that the IRS will allow us to run through the policy? I know how much you can leave in. Then I have to determine how much you can run through. When you go to get Vivi's cake for her birthday and you go to the baker, do you tell them, I want a vanilla cake with chocolate frosting and I want you to use 3 cups of flour and 2 cups of baking soda? Or do you just let the baker bake the cake and tell them, I want the vanilla and the chocolate?
I'm probably a bad person to ask about that because I'm probably asking, some of those questions. But yeah, for the most part, I just have the baker bake the cake.
So once we figure out if it's vanilla with chocolate frosting or chocolate with vanilla frosting, how much can we leave in? What is the total allotted amount? Let the baker, let the illustrator build the cake, build the policy. I will then come back with numbers, multiple different scenarios, and then we make an educated decision on which one is best for you.
But you see, here's the thing. So I can tell you, when I'm looking for a cake and I go into a bakery, okay, I want to see existing cakes that have already been made to get some ideas on what I want my cake to be. I don't just walk into the baker and say, oh, I want, this. I kind of want to look and see what the options are. I want to shop the brochure, if you will.
Sure.
So a lot of times I'll look at the cakes and I'm like, oh, that one looks really good. Oh, wow, that one's got strawberries on it. Oh, I like that one. What does that one got inside? And then they tell you what's inside. And that's usually good for me. So that's why I was saying I might be the wrong one to ask. I don't just go in and say, hey, I want to kind of see some exampple. And I find that our clients, they want to see some examples too.
Sure.
They want to see what their cake's going to look like before they buy the cake.
I wouldn't disagree.
Can we show some of the cakes that we bake?
We can.
All right, let's do it. Give me some examples here real quick. We'll put them up on the screen for you. We're going to look at 2 different examples. Now, we're not going to tell you what the difference in the ingredients are, but we're going to build the cake around what you say you want. You want chocolate frosting, you want this, you want that. And we're not talking about cake, folks. We're talking about the policy. But again, we're going to show you how let the baker be the baker. Now, we, as the mentors, are the ones that know how to design these policies the most efficient way to solve your problem. But I get it. Clients, they want to see some examples.
Which is fine.
Yeah, so let's show them. Which one do you want to start with?
How about the person who is leaving in $400 a month?
Okay, so they're effectively long-term saving strategies. They want to be able to save $400.
And when we say long term, we're talking
Well, not really long-term. I mean, a couple years.
about 2.5 years.
A couple years. You're not going to
Because-
touch that money for a couple years. That's all.
Yes, because that number will diminish.
Right.
So in the beginning, I say in the next 24 months, can you leave this money in that it won't affect your food, your gas, your livelihood, your entertainment?
$300 a month. $400.
$400 per month.
$398.42.
Correct. That's $4,800 a year.
Okay.
About $5,000, we'll say.
Okay.
Okay? So now we'll find out how much is your income. So in this case, this person's income is $50,000. $50,000 is his maximum income. So the IRS says that we can run 25% of your annual gross. So 25 of 50 is about $1,000 a month, $12,000. So now that $1,000 is the maximum per the IRS. He says, I can leave in 400 and it won't hurt me. That means that 600 is the PUA portion that runs through this policy. This specific person saved $50,000, has it in a
Yeah, like that person I was
savings account.
talking about. They're so
Exactly.
proud of that.
They're so proud of it. Good. Well, instead of keeping it into the Bank of America and in Chase, why don't you put it in your credit union, your policy, your bank? So that's called a dump. Take the $50,000, put it in as a dump, back that up with $1,000 a month, leaving $400 a month in.
Yeah, so the first year they put $62,000 in.
Correct.
Okay.
That's $50,000
50 was dumped in, $1,000
$1,000
a month.
for 12. And then after those 12 months, they have access to over $56,000 for year one.
Okay.
And then in year two, depending on how the baker built the cake or the illustrator built the illustration, this is a money tree in year two.
This one is.
This one is.
But they probably don't know what money tree means, though.
So efficiency and utilization. If you are running 12,000 through, what year does it become efficient that you're able to take out that 12,000?
Yeah, either 12,000 or more than the 12,000 you put in. So I put 12,000 in, and I can take out more than 12,000. That's efficient. That's super efficient.
Because of the way this was built with the algorithm of the insurance company.
You know what? I got one of these things. It's called my checking account.
Yeah.
I put 12,000 in every year. Guess how much I can take out every year?
12,000.
12,000. Never more, never less.
Yep.
Just 12,000.
Well, how about taking out what, $12,060?
Okay. Well, that's better than what I get in my bank.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So we're efficient.
We're efficient in year two. And then in year three, we're putting in 12 and we're making 707 more than that 12.
Which, there's a cool way to do this. If you take that, I'm just going to show you some math. Grab your calculator. What was that? 707?
Yes.
All right. So 707 divided into 12,000. Wow. Yeah. That's, what is that?
Almost 6%.
Almost 6%.
Or 5.8.
5.8. Yeah.
5.8.
5.89.
Almost 6%.
Yeah, almost 6%.
Look at that.
Wow. See, that's all you got to do. You just take the amount of the gain that year, divide it into the amount you put it in. This would be how you look at an investment account. This is how you do probably your 401k if you looked at it year by year. I put in 12 grand and I made 700 and, in this case, $707. Divide the 707 I made into the 12,000, 5.89%. But that's just year two.
That's just
Doesn't it
year
get
two.
better?
So
And it can never go down, right?
It can't go down because this is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed to go up. The second thing that I do when I show people, that's called where's the first efficiency level. What I also want to find out, that's on a year-to-year basis, cash on cash.
Right.
What I also want to find out, I kind of teach people that this is like real estate. It's like we put the 20% down and the people, the renters, are paying for the house.
Yeah.
So
that's like that's the cash on cash return I'd make in my rental. Like it's
Correct.
whatever's left at the end of the year after paying all my expenses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you did get a rental, how long does it take for the renters to pay off that house? Depending on how much the house is.
Pay off the house or give me back my 20% I put down?
Yeah. No, paying off the house.
Okay. I don't know. Seems like it would take a long time.
In this case, it's 6 years.
So it took 6 years to fully pay this policy up.
Correct.
So in other words, in 6 years,
You've put in $122,000.
that was
total.
my premium deposits I put in.
That is what you've totally put in.
And how
Your
much
dump,
money do I have in there if I want to cancel it the next day?
$123,835.
Okay.
So within 6 years,
I've gotten every penny back. And I still have a death benefit, right?
you certainly do.
And what's the death benefit there?
Death benefit in 6 years would be $877,000, 601.
So how can people say that buy term invested difference is better? How can they say that term insurance or any, people are always looking at life insurance and saying, I want the cheapest premium possible. What's cheaper than that? How many years did it take me to get all my money back?
6.
Okay, 6
And
years.
more.
And now every year from this point on, I make money.
Every
But
year
let's
from
just
year
stop
2.
at 6. So 6 years, I got all my money back. So how much did that cost to insure my family for over $800,000?
So when I ask people, if I told you there was something, there was a vehicle out there that you could deposit money into, and after so long, you were able to take out more than what you put in, did it cost you anything?
Most people would say no.
Well, that's what happens in year 6 here.
Well, let's talk about what happens after year 6, because that's the real exciting
Why
stuff.
don't you grab your phone again?
All right, let's do some more math. Remember, we did the math before. So now year 6, we're break even, which would be called cumulative return. Okay,
Correct.
We're now break even in year 6, but we were money tree break even or efficient in year 2. So year 2, we're printing money. Think of that as that net rental income on your property. Your second year, you're making money on that rental property, but you haven't got all the money back because you still have your own money from the investment into the property, because that is a great way to look at it. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But then in this, it took me 6 years to fully pay off that rental or fully capitalize my banking system.
Correct.
But I made money every year, right?
True.
Okay, now,
In year 11, in order to make this policy efficient, we have to keep the term on for 7 years because of the dump. That's so it doesn't MEC or become a taxable event. And then the PUA, we have to contribute for 10 years. In year 11, the term falls off and the PUA doesn't have to be paid. So now we're just looking at the base, the bare minimum. And that number is 3720.
so in year 11, they're putting in premium deposits of $3,020.
20. So this is like you walking...
$3,700.
Yep, 720. This is like you walking into the bank with $3,720 and you walk up to the teller one, and you say, "Hi, Susie, here's $3,720. And she says, "Oh, thanks, Chris. Proceed down to teller 2. So he goes down to teller 2, and Ann hands him back $12,430 because you deposited that $3,720. You receive $12,430.
In order for $3,720 to give me $12,430, you'd have to make 334%.
Well, isn't that amazing? In year 11, you're at 334% cash on cash.
But the best part is what if, year 2, I needed the money for something. I needed to buy a car.
Please use it.
Yeah.
And
That number wouldn't change?
it wouldn't change because you're still making money on your money even though you're using it. Why?
And year two was 5.68, if I'm not mistaken, cash on cash return. So let's just say I could borrow from this policy at 5.5%. I'd be in the money.
You certainly would.
Year 2.
It'd be a wash.
Yeah.
You're utilizing the money,
'Cause-
you're paying the interest, the dividends are coming in to cancel out what you borrow. When I talk with people, they're like, "Yeah, but I have to borrow that money, and what's that number at?" They never incorporate what they're getting back in dividends to go against what they're borrowing. When you bring that number into effect and find out that you're using this money to capitalize on it, to pay down that 28% capital, that Capital One card, you're paying less than 1% for borrowing it and getting the dividends.
And your family's been protected the whole time.
Yes.
It's protected against judgments and liens. Oh, and also, hold on, we forgot something really important. Remember that return I used, that 5.68%? How much would you have to earn in a bank account or some other account that you have to pay taxes on gains? So I figured I would just show the after-tax equivalent yield, because I know a lot of people, when we talk about this, we give them the dividend crediting rate, we tell them the cash-on-cash return, and we always use numbers like that 5.68% that I said in year 2 was your cash-on-cash return. But what we forget is this is a tax-free account.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what would I have to earn in a taxed account, like a CD, a bank account, I don't know, just a mutual fund portfolio? What would I have to earn in those if I had to pay tax on my gains to equal what I earned tax-free in this? So let's just run this. The calculator I went to that you're gonna see in a second is Calc XML. I don't know, I just Googled tax equivalent yield calculator, and that's what it came up with. So right here. So when I hit calculate, it comes down here and gives me my results. Now brace yourself. So remember, my tax-free cash-on-cash return in year 2 was 5.68%. If I were to earn a yield on a taxed investment, I would have to make 8.39% in a taxed account if I had to pay state and federal income tax. I'd have to make 8.39% to equal the 5.68.
Yep.
If we were just trying to cover federal, okay, some states don't have state, you still have to make 7.89% to equal the same 5.68%. So now, if we're really thinking about it, let's say the insurance company charges us 5.5%, hypothetically, okay? Because it's different for different insurance companies. Insurance company charges us 5.5% on the loan we take out. Is that a big deal?
No.
I mean, just by what we made in year 2, 5.68 minus 5.5, I'm still making a spread.
And you're still able to use it.
But
and you still make
should
money
I
on it.
actually look at the spread as my after-tax equivalent yield? Should it be the 7.89 or the 8.39 minus the 5.5? Because that's what I'd have to make in my bank account. That's what I'd have to make in my Charles Schwab account.
You would have to.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
All right, let's get back to our regular scheduled program. I'm just simply making a point that these policies, although you're never going to get wealthy from the policy is not going to make you wealthy. I mean, it might make your spouse or your kids wealthy when you die from the death benefit, but the policy is just slightly better than the other options of guaranteed places you can put your money, like a bank account, a CD. This is better. We just showed the math.
Exactly.
But here's where people get hung up too. They get hung up thinking, oh, well, I want the best design. Remember we were talking about the baker? You don't go into the bakery and say, hey, Mr. Baker, I want you to use this kind of flour. I want these ingredients. Did you give them a list of all the ingredients? I guarantee you there's someone watching this that does. I'm not going to say I'd be too far off from that.
Not me.
But most people wouldn't. So we assume that the baker knows how to make the cake the best way so that it's going to taste the best because that's what they do for a living. Well, that's what we kind of expect our clients to assume, that we are the baker. We know how to design these policies for the maximum efficiency to solve the client's problem.
Yep.
But I know you got 2 examples here.
I do.
So let's flip over and talk about this other one because it's just a wee little bit different. This would be like the baker decides to sprinkle a little more sugar in one than the other.
Correct.
The average person wouldn't even know the difference,
They wouldn't.
but the baker would.
True.
Let's talk a little bit about this example.
All right. So in this example, we're actually leaving in a little bit more in years 11 onward.
Okay.
So that means you're putting more in. It's growing a little bit more death benefit, a little bit more PUA, a little bit more cash value, and we're able to utilize a little bit more. So you wouldn't really understand the difference, but if you could only leave 400 in a month, you'd get the first one. But if you could leave in 600 a month, now you could get this one. And that would be the minuscule difference.
But what would be the advantage of leaving in 600 versus the 300? What's the difference?
Per month?
No. Like, why would I want to do that?
Because now you're getting more death benefit. Now you're getting more
So I'm
cash
protecting
value.
my family with more. So
Correct.
just kind of looking at that, this person who started at 51, by the time they're 82 years old, if they died, that first example we did, which the average person wouldn't know the difference between the 2 of these, except for the baker would.
True.
But the family, when this person died, would get $718,673,000.
Yep.
That's not too bad. They put in $240,257 over the course of those 32 years, and the death benefit's $718. Oh, the cash value is $623. May I make? Because they put in $240 and have $623. I just had to call all the numbers out.
With a 718 death benefit.
1,000 death benefit. But over here in the baker's recipe, where maybe the baker sprinkled in a little more sugar, 600 stays in the policy. Okay, we put in $288,000 at the age of 82, 32 years in. Our cash value is $672,000, so it's more cash value. And the death benefit $775,000.
Right.
Okay, so about a little more than about $52,000, give or take a penny or two more.
Exactly.
Yeah, my family would like $52,000 extra dollars.
See that? And you were able to run more
I actually
money
had more
through.
cash value too, but I put a little more money in.
A little bit. $200 more a month for 2 years, more or
I'm
less.
just running the math, that's all. So I got 50 more there. I'm actually ahead even on the cash value side.
See, it just depends on what we're doing. It depends on what we're leaving in. It depends on what we're running through. It's the full picture. When I tell people, you have to imagine me in the Goodyear blimp, and I'm hovering over the stadium.
Joe and Goodyear.
I have to see everything that's going on in the stadium. I have to see how much is the mortgage. I have to see if you have a HELOC. I have to see how much is going to the credit cards. Do we have a car payment? How much money comes into the house? How much money goes out of the house? How much can we leave in the policy per month that it won't affect us? What happens if our spouse loses his or her job? Can we still put in that $400, $300 a month that you said you could? And that's what I find out. What is the minimum that we can leave in? And then I find the maximum for the PUA, for the banking portion.
The baker. Let the baker bake the cake. And you know, just when we compare numbers, you know, side by side, I'm just going to kind of call them out. From the surface, they look the same. It's $62,000 in the first year, 50 dump, $12,000 a year, $12,000 in each year up to the 7th year. And then after that, it varies a little bit. But over here, I mean, remember we were talking about both policy, or the one policy being efficient in the second year. So the first one we did was efficient by $60 in the second year and by $707 in the third year. This new policy design is not efficient until the 4th year.
Correct.
So we give up a little bit of efficiency.
So in year 2, we're leaving in an extra $800, and in year 3, we're leaving in an extra $150. So let's just call it $900 for the sake of argument. But you're making $556 in year 4. So now it's down to $400 of actually.
Where in this one I made $1,397 versus $556. So I guess that would be the only thing that the client would have to decide is, and they would tell you, the baker, I want the maximum high cash value.
Yep. I want to be efficient as possible, or I show them both of them. Well, yeah, it's okay if I'm 800 shy in year 2.
In my mind, I got like this French baker showing me 2 cakes that look identical on the outside, but the baker's saying, oh, this one better.
But this one could have more sugar.
But this one good too, both good. So the whole point of going through this is both of these are great designs.
Yes.
From the surface, the client may or may not really know the difference between the two outside of a little less cash value, but I'm talking like $100, $200.
Correct.
That's why you were asking,
That's it.
Can you burn a couple $100?
What can we
But this one
leave
had
in?
more in the long run.
True.
Than this one had.
Correct.
So the one they had a little bit more in the short run has less in the long run.
Correct.
So the client just needs to weigh it out.
You can't have both.
Yeah.
You can't have both.
Chocolate cake, vanilla cake, and there's also strawberry.
Right.
And I've seen other flavors. But
And
those
I
are the most common.
try to make that swirl, the chocolate and the vanilla swirl.
I like that.
So depending on how much is the dump, how much can we leave in, and let me blow out that PUA, that is how the baker makes the cake.
So, and also the cool part was, always remember, these policies, if built correctly, grow tax-free. The internal buildup of the cash value grows tax-free. Therefore, whatever that return is at whatever year we look at, we did that 3rd year of 707, that was 5.68, and then we went down to the 11th year, which was over 300%.
Correct.
To earn that return in a taxable investment, you'd have to earn significantly more. Check out the after-tax equivalent yield. And also, while you're at it, check this out right here. See that button? Yep, it says subscribe. And also, there's a little bell. I want you to smash the bell. That almost took your head off.
That was good.
Whoa. Smash the bell so you're notified every time we go live or put out new content. Folks, thank you so very much for joining us for this episode. Joe, thanks for shedding some light on this.
Absolutely.
And also,
Thank you.
I got one final bonus round.
Sure.
Let's just say somebody doesn't have 50 grand sitting in their bank,
Right.
but they got 50 grand sitting in the walls of their house, i.e. equity. What would you tell that person?
Well, then we have to utilize a HELOC. We have to get availability of that money stuck in your 2x4s with a line of credit, utilizing that. And we can do a debt consolidation. We can run that through the policy. We can utilize that. Now we're getting into arbitrage and utilizing our money.
And also, if you want to learn more about how to use that hidden equity in your house, the money in your walls, check this video out right here. This video shows you exactly how to do that. Clearly, Joe is still trying to figure out how to enter the video. All you need to do is click that button right there. Yeah, that's the one. All right, thanks for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time.